This episode, battery-powered life changers for your home. In the past 10 years, changes in battery technology have changed the way we build. They've also changed the way we live as well. John and I thought we might have a discussion about some of the innovative systems that have come up that are run on battery systems that are applicable to your home. Welcome to the Handyman Pros radio show. Home improvement and maintenance tips from the pros. Thanks for listening to another edition of the Handyman Pros radio show, where our goal is to help save you time, money, and aggravation on your home maintenance and repair. This edition is entitled Battery-Powered Life Changers for Your Home. And to help me explain, I am here with my old buddy, John. Johnny?
Yep. Larry, I'm here, baby.
Talk to me. What's been happening?
Well, let's see. I'm surprised I can sit down right now because I had to get new tires for my car.
Oh, the wallet hurts. Ouch.
Yeah, it was just the wallet that hurt there, Larry. But yeah. So that kind of kicked off the week here. I don't think I told you that, did I?
You didn't.
Yeah. So it's a long story, but it didn't end well. But I guess it's okay now.
Guess what? You don't have a choice, right?
Yeah. No.
There you go.
No,
Johnny,
no,
that wasn't in the script. I can't believe it. Wow.
No. So
we use one of those? No.
Anyway. Yeah. So anyways, that's what's been going on, and obviously doing some work at some of my clients, which has been interesting. I'll be putting in let's see, a floor and some backsplashes and stuff like that. So
remember, we don't do flooring.
This isn't going to be a big job.
Thank God.
Oh, dude. Yeah.
Thank God.
No.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so we wanted to talk a little bit about batteries and battery technology, and we've had some of these discussions before, but we got thinking about it, and we were just talking about how there's a whole lot of things that are going to start changing, and actually there's 3 or 4 areas in the home build right now that really lend themselves well to battery technology, and then there's other things also that I think eventually there's going to be more and more application that comes in under battery power because of just some of the logistics and things like that, and solar cells and blah blah blah. But we're not going to get into all of that kind of discussion. We just thought we'd kind of do an overview. And one of the things is, folks, if you haven't listened to this show, John and I know each other. We've known each other for a long time, but we started off flying remote control airplanes, and we both fly electric remote control airplanes. We've been doing this for, gosh, Johnny, has it been 15 years? It's been 10 at least.
It's
probably closer to 15.
We kind of made the progression from nitro to electric, right?
Yeah. And the point that the reason that we bring this up is when we started moving into the battery technology in the airplanes, we were really at the forefront. I mean, really at the very, very beginning. And what a change there. I mean, and the reason that we bring it up is the amount of power that's generated by modern batteries is far and away bigger than anything that we used to have back in the old days. And when I mean the old days, I'm talking about when I first got into remote control airplanes in the 70s. It was like, oh, hey, look, like I get 3.5 minutes of flight time with my battery packs just on my servos. Today, that's like unlimited. Like, how much do you want on your servos, and so forth and so on, let alone powering the airplane. Back in the day, you couldn't even power the airplane. But anyway, I put that out there because we wanted to let you know that we've been playing with batteries for a long time, and we know way more than we should know about battery technology as far as power to weight ratio and densities and all that kind of stuff. But it's just a basis for us. So with that too, there's 2 types of batteries, right, John?
Yeah, there's a lot of different types.
Not types, but I mean, we wanted to just talk about rechargeable versus non-rechargeable, right?
Yeah, right. And I've talked about before that all the things that I've got right now, whether it's flashlights, what have you, I've converted them all over to rechargeable, because at one point those rechargeable batteries that were you could go to the store and buy were awful.
Yep.
They were awful. They wouldn't hold charges. You could store them and so forth. Yeah. So, but then there's just the other ones, the typical alkaline batteries now that you run into that are not rechargeable.
And there are some lithium batteries for certain
and all those
applications as
kind of
well.
things. Yeah. So
So
they're
yeah,
yeah.
so there's two. So basically, there's two kinds. There's rechargeable and non-rechargeable, and each has a different application for your home thing. Like I'm just going to use a good example. Your smoke alarm really probably shouldn't be on a rechargeable
Right.
battery. You should put a long life lithium battery in it,
Right.
and because by the time the battery goes dead, you basically need a new um,
Smoke
smoke
detector.
alarm anyway, right?
Right.
So just throw the thing out and put a new one up. And that's actually how they're selling them these days. If you haven't been in a big box store and looked at smoke alarms in a while, the battery powered ones literally they say 10-year life and they're a 10-year life. And trust me, after 10 years, you're going to want to throw that thing out anyway, because it's not necessarily going to work after 10 years. So that's probably one of the greatest examples of a difference between rechargeable and non-rechargeable. We did a show on these LED puck lights that I actually did an installation, and it was the only way that I could cost effectively install light in this particular cabinet, because it was gonna cost them probably $1,000 to run wire in there. And I mean, I went down to the big box store and I bought these. There were 6 lights, and they were really cool, and they were $35. And I mean, it was just like, wow, this is like a game changer. So this is part of what spurred this conversation. But we want to talk about some of the other things. But lighting is probably the biggest segment. Would you agree with that, John?
Oh yeah. I mean, absolutely. That that's it's the easiest way to for people that don't want to run wire, that don't want all that hassle, that want it to do it reasonably cheap, to add light to closets, cabinets, all those kind of things.
Up under your cabinets,
Exactly. And
in
with
the kitchen.
right, and with the technology like we just talked about, these things are really, it's really come a long way, because we've both installed a lot of lighting under cabinets and things like that. And now, some of the folks, if I was them, I'd go out and I'd be looking at some of these battery operated lights.
Yeah,
They've got some really nice ones. The old ones, and I'll just say this: the old ones that I've been accustomed to, that I've put in, because I was just lazy and I just threw them up. They were awful. Like in some closets or some workspaces and things like that. That I use occasionally. But now, boy, they're really, these little LEDs and things like that. They've really come a long way. They're pretty creative that what they've done with some of this stuff.
Yeah, I did want to mention too that a lot of this battery technology in the lighting venue has been driven by LED lighting, because LED power, just so you know, doesn't draw, and I know you know this, most people do, but it draws hardly any energy at all. So it really lends itself well to doing battery powered stuff, like we always tell people. Part of the airplane thing was we used to fly these airplanes at night, and we would put LED strips. We'd actually build them into the wings, power them off the power pack on the battery, and you could fly. It didn't draw your flight time down at all, and you had these lit up airplanes. And one of our friends does this at night now, and he gets people call the police because they think it's a UFO, which I just think is funnier than hell.
Yep.
But anyway, but you can do that, and so LEDs have been the driver for the lighting side of this battery technology. And now, and John, I just wanted to go on and say, compared to the stuff that we used to put in that was battery powered, these are much brighter, many more options. I want to say some of them even are Wi-Fi hooked up, and and they last a really long time, and they give plenty of light. And I think that's the biggest difference. They now become a viable option to regular wired stuff. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, and that's a great point. That's I think that's one of the takeaways here, is that they are now a good alternative to regular lights. This topic, it spurred me. I was in one of the big box stores the other day, and I ran across some of these LED lights that you could stick up underneath your cabinet.
Yep.
And they were rechargeable. So they had,
Yep.
they didn't have to even take them apart. They had like a micro USB.
Yeah, you just plug them in.
Just plug them in. So everybody's got power underneath their, around their counters and things like that. Just plug them in. But it also had like different options to, like, you could, just wave your hand, they'd go on. They were motion sensitive. You could turn them on and off. I mean, so it was really a cool little thing. like you said, it's very viable to wired,
To wired
technology out.
technology.
So,
Yeah. For lighting,
hmm
and
yeah,
just a couple of other things. There were some other, I did a little research, and one of the things that I came up with too is like now they make this round disc thing that fits around your umbrella post that you
yeah,
can put
I've
up in
seen
an
that.
umbrella. And I'm like, you couldn't, like, that's just, I mean, it's cool. And it's like, if you want your umbrella out at night and you want to have some ambiance lighting, as they
Yeah,
say, and they're very, relatively inexpensive. I mean, it's just very cool. The things you can do with it are really cool. Um,
I have seen. We actually at the pool we have no, at our neighborhood pool they actually have these umbrellas that have a solar panel on top of them that charges up a battery for the lights underneath there. And
See,
I
and
mean, it's a lot of stuff you can do with this now.
yeah, tons and tons of stuff in the lighting department. Let's just move on. So that
Yep.
probably one of the second biggest areas that I've seen real battery powered technology that works well, and even at my house, because this is what I put up. But we put up battery powered cameras that attach into Wi-Fi for security cameras,
Yep.
and in the past, running wires for all that stuff, it required two wires. It required a power wire and a data cable, right? It's like it back in the days,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But still, not having to be able to put that power and be able to take that camera and put it basically anywhere we want. And then again, like you were saying, ours have a plug-in, a micro USB. I actually take them off the mounts and pull the batteries out and charge them just because they're easily accessible.
Mm-hmm.
But what a huge difference as far as adding security, security, and or in our case, it seems we capture more game pictures than we do security things. Besides the Amazon guy, he brings a fair amount of stuff to the house. But it really changes the whole nature of mounting a security camera system at your house. I mean, and it's really inexpensive. You can get a 4 or 5 camera system in the like $200 to $300 range, and just stick them up, put them wherever you want them.
Yeah.
Do you
Yeah.
have anything like that, John? Or I forget if you
I
got
don't.
that.
I don't on the outside. But I just ran across some articles on one of the tech blogs, and they were just talking about all the new technology that was coming out on the cameras, and they were all battery operated,
Yep.
indoor, outdoor capable,
Yep.
weatherproof, that whole
Infrared, the
bit,
whole deal.
and
Sound.
they had and sound too. They had two-way sound, and this
Yep.
thing was $79.
Yeah, right. I mean,
So it's like wow, so this stuff is really starting to take off, and once again, what you were saying about running the wires and stuff on the outside, it was always a mess. That in and of itself was a business, right?
oh yeah. Oh,
I
it
mean,
was.
you're
It was.
talking about going through attics. You're talking
Ugh.
about going through, the drilling through, you name it, running wires. It's a mess. Now, I know, some of these things come with the little solar panels.
Yep.
And I
They
think
do.
that was the other thing that this thing had. Anyways, it was pretty interesting for like $75 or whatever it was.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a
so
bunch of manufacturers
yeah,
like that. The ones
yeah,
we use actually have a solar capacity. We just don't choose to use it
yeah.
just because it's harder for me to mount the solar panel than it is to just pull the thing down and charge
yeah,
it.
well, there's that, but
But that's just because I've got them up under the eaves and so forth and so on and blah blah blah. But yeah, really, just it's really a game changer for your home, because you just, in the past it was really cost prohibitive and really a pain in the, it was just
yeah,
a huge pain.
yeah.
Oh my God. I mean, yeah, CCTV companies, you're right. I never even thought about it, but there were actually companies dedicated that's all they did. They put in
Oh yeah.
security
I mean,
systems.
you had to be a rich dude, man, back in the day that had CC,
Yeah, to have now it's everywhere.
Yeah,
And
now you can
that's,
put them everywhere.
Ring's got it. Nest has it. Arlo has it. There's a bazillion brands, so
Yeah.
nothing new. I think one of the other things, just because we don't want to belabor any one of these topics, but alarm systems also. Now they've got all these wireless alarm systems, and they're all battery operated. And it's the same thing as security cameras. You used to be running the wires. Running the wire was the hardware. That was the
Oh,
hardware, right?
yeah.
Now it's like, oh, here, where do I, bink, here's my thing for the window. Boom, you stick it on, you're done, just
Yeah.
like that. And
Yeah.
it's like, oh, simple, Here's one that I use a lot ourselves. So we carry around Bluetooth speakers. We've done away with wired speakers for the stereo, right? So we've got Bluetooth speakers. Boom. It's a game changer. Because you know what? I'm frugal, right, Johnny, like you, like basically Lincoln is screaming every time I have a penny in my hand because I'm squeezing them so tight. But anyway, speakers, I used to have speakers in all the rooms. I had pre-wired the house, did all that stuff. Yeah, not anymore because I just carry the speakers with me now and set them down, tie them into the phone and boom, we've got music. Where do you want it? Inside, outside, it's all good.
Yeah, and it's getting better every day.
Every day.
If once again you go through some of these tech blogs, and I go there and just because I'm interested in that stuff. But that's a big topic. That's a major category for them, are USB speakers. And you can't believe what's going on with with that stuff, the Bluetooth speakers, I should say. It's incredible.
Yeah, but it really is. It really is.
Yeah.
So one thing we already did a show on this one, but I'm just going to bring it up again. Fans, right? Johnny's got his battery powered misting fan.
Yep.
And there are plenty. Like if you go online and look, there's about 8 billion fans that you can get that are all battery powered. And again, it's kind of most of this stuff lends itself well to being portable because you don't want a fan necessarily in every room. But it's battery driven. It's just simple. There's no wires. You're not tripping over. For me, a fan like a box fan, I'm forever tripping on the cord. Forever.
Yeah.
It drives me crazy. Obviously flashlights have been battery powered forever, but now we've got things like lawnmowers, and a lot of yard tools. And we never really discussed the tool side, but John, you and I, we
talk about it all the time.
The time.
I mean, everybody now is a tradesman's using, battery.
Battery powered cordless tools.
Yeah, cordless
Same deal.
tools.
You don't want to drag the cords, and I still use a few corded tools, but those are mostly for specific applications where I need a really lot of power, which is more than the batteries can get.
It just kind of reminds me of the days when you had to go out and you had to drag like 100 feet of cable for a drill.
Oh yeah,
and a saw, and you name it. It's like
no, not anymore. Boom, away we go.
Such a pain
and then I also thought I'd just mention some things on so I'm here in the mobile command center here down, in this RV that I have. And in the RV world, there's, of course, everything is designed to run basically on batteries or on, low power or gas. But some of the new things for the RV world, like 12-volt refrigerators, these are 10 cubic feet. These are good, these are big refrigerators. They're 10 cubic feet, which is, half the size of your home refrigerator, which is pretty big. If you think about it, a big refrigerator is 22 cubic feet, right? So this is 10 to 12 cubic feet. And the only thing that really restricts them is basically where you're sticking it in your RV. But they run on 12-volt systems. And this is new technology, I want to say within the last 5 years, probably even less than that, because we've kind of been doing the research on this for a long time. But there's all kinds of things. You can get coffee makers that are 12 volts. You can get air conditioning systems that are 12 volt, although it's very short-lived because they chew a lot of power up. But refrigerators, they're going away from the old propane powered refrigerators in general, just because of the cost plus the gas and the danger and blah 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 blah. But they're they're expensive. Yeah. So this is the kind of stuff that actually will eventually I think will eventually transcend into the home. I think you'll start seeing some options for a 12 volt a battery powered refrigerator. I mean, if you do put solar panels on and you're generating power for yourself, you're generating 12 volt power. It's converted over to 110 when you sell it back to the grid, but you could just tap off some 12 volt and run your house, run your refrigerator. It's a possibility. I'm not saying it's a probability, but it's a possibility. And then of course, there's electric cars, which we don't really want to have that discussion because there's a lot of work, in my opinion, that needs to be done to create electric cars, to make them viable for, I'm going to qualify this and say people in rural areas, kind of like where we live, John. I don't think electric cars are necessarily viable for us because we drive too much. But
you mean coal powered cars?
Yeah.
So you don't want to take one through the Donner Pass.
It's kind of funny.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny. Stacy has a friend that has a Nissan
Party
Leaf.
for two, Donner.
Yeah. Stacy has a friend that had a Leaf, and and they moved their office, and so when they moved their office, he used to drive. It was like a 5-minute drive over to the office. Well, then it became this 25 or 30-minute drive, and on his drive home, he had to limit the amount of air conditioning that he used in his drive home because he'd run out of battery power before he'd get home. And I'm like, and folks, to give you perspective, Atlanta in the summertime with no air conditioning. Oh, good God.
Yeah, it's like most places in the summertime. It's
right.
nasty.
It's bad. So anyway, so that's kind of our thing. Anything that we missed, John?
No, I just want to reiterate, kind of sum this up, is that, the couple of takeaways that I had from this, and just what precipitated this whole thing was I was going through one of the big box stores, and I said, man, all this battery stuff, then it kind of, we start, you kind of expand all this, but the lighting, how easy it was, how efficient it was. And, anybody can do it. You stick it up underneath the cabinets and then you're done. So I think most people out there that, if you want some light, in some of those places, whether it's your closets, and I bought a little, package of LEDs that, they have batteries on board. They're little thing, man, they must be maybe the size of a nickel. And you just peel off the back and stick them on. They got a little lever on it. You flip it on and they go. I stuck a couple of these in I bought a new tool bag. That's for another day too. But he's put these things in there. I can see everything, and then when the batteries go out, they're just those little round hearing aid batteries or whatever. You toss them. And you can buy 9 of these. I think I bought like 9 or 10 of these things for, I don't know, $8 or something crazy like that,
Right.
Anyway, so, I just got to thinking about that. I was like, man, this stuff is really great. So, if you're thinking about doing these kind of things, take a look at this stuff.
Yeah. Do some investigation, because there's, if you haven't looked at this in a year or two,
and there's a good point.
I mean, the technology has really changed. I mean, I'm going to say the functionality has changed. They've added a lot of connectivity, I think I want to say to it, to where it's just, anyway, do some research, like, especially on those lights, like our lights at the house now are all connected to each other up under the cabinets. So you turn one on, they all come on, which is kind of nice.
Yeah. It's really cool. Yeah.
You adjust the light level, they all change. You're not having to do each individual thing like back in the anyway. With that, the last time that I got abducted, I noticed that they ran the spaceships mostly on electric power. Is that how they were doing that when they got you the last time, Johnny?
On electric power, eh?
I think the probes were electric, weren't they? Oh, there's a whole nother conversation.
All right, Larry. You're going.
We're not going. All right.
You're going down
folks,
the wrong
If you
the wrong
enjoy
road
the
there,
Handyman
buddy.
Pros radio show, please tell your friends and neighbors. Send them the link. Tell them these two guys are whatever they are. I'm not really sure, but they're something. That's what they tell us anyway.
They
So, too, if you do have any questions,
had a Roomba in the spacecraft going around cleaning up. So anyway,
there's another one we didn't talk about that, Johnny, but the Roomba is a great example of battery-powered technology.
I know.
What a game
the first
changer.
time I saw one was in the spaceship.
Yeah, well, there you go. So
it had Elon Musk on the side of the spaceship.
Anyway, we missed our callings. Never mind. Folks, if you do have any questions, comments, or concerns, send us an email, questions at Handyman Pros Radio Show or handymanprosradioshow@gmail.com. Check out our website, handymanprosradioshow.com. You can sign up for our newsletter. We send great information. We might even throw in a joke or two. Johnny's pretty good at making jokes up. But upcoming shows, events, and all that kind of stuff. We also have a Facebook page, and that's at Handyman Pros, and Twitter at Handyman Radio. And thanks for listening. We will see you next week on the Handyman Pros Radio Show.